All right, gang, we're back officially. Episode 41 of Within Range podcast with your boys Dom Juan, Jared Suter, and the Ear God. Boys, big night for the pod.
Huge.
Hell yeah.
Our biggest guest to date at this point by far.
Yes, sir.
By far. Not even, yeah.
No disrespect to anybody else.
No disrespect. There's the numbers, just purely off numbers alone.
Just call it what it is.
Let alone the reputation.
Yep. This man is a pioneer and leader of the Phoenix hip hop scene, and I'm gonna say at this point he still holds the crown. I say humbly. Anyone that may think different, I'd have an argument for you. Okay. I also think it's fair to say that not only did he inspire other kids from Arizona, but just kids in general to shoot for their dreams, to prove that you can do this independent and be successful and do good business. Okay. So from being an artist to a business owner to a property owner, collaborator, author, family man. I mean, Jared, what?
I mean, 6 businesses. What I'm keeping up, dude. I can barely work one job sometimes.
Yeah. And we'll just end with an all-around great guy, but we got a lot to get into today. We're talking 10 plus years solid in the hip hop game, the king of Arizona hip hop. We are excited to have Futuristic on our show today.
What an intro. Wow. I'll take it.
Hell yeah.
Tomato.
Never.
Nah, appreciate that. That means a lot.
Man, yeah, we're honored to have you on. We're gonna hop around a bit. Okay, we don't necessarily want to start chronologically and work our way. I just feel like we're just gonna vibe it out.
Yeah, run it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to take it back to the Capriati days.
Oh shit.
Mill Avenue.
Mill Ave, Capriati.
Slanging sandwiches.
Doesn't even exist anymore.
It's not even there no more?
Been gone.
Dude, they got towers over there. There's like a
The
fractured
Zips is down there.
crown.
I know they put his Zips down
Yeah,
that way.
It's all different down there, man. It's all Casa at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been gone for a minute, yeah.
And it was interesting because you were working with my boy at the time, and he was like, man, there's this guy I work with, man. He's always rapping. He's funny. And I feel like he's about to do it. And then flash forward, you had a show, your first show ever.
Yeah.
At the Red Owl, I think it was, or Club Red. back
Okay,
then?
probably Red Owl, yeah.
Yeah.
Did a show at the Red Owl, probably. Not first show ever, but probably first show he knew about.
Okay.
For sure, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you were climbing. I mean, I felt like it was right before that you shot off in the stars, and getting to see you perform. Man, I remember I was drinking $2 PBRs that night. You know, they were cheap. But yeah, talk to me about kind of that moment in your life and what that was like.
Man, it's almost like, I won't say it's hard to remember, but it's like, I've been doing this for so long. I've been rapping since I was 5. So like, even at that point, I was like, I was like 15 years in at that point because I'm 20, So it was just like, any job I only had 2 real jobs, Ross and Capriati's. And I just hated it. I hated it so bad. And it was like, I think I might have only worked there for like maybe 4 or 5 months tops, but it felt like 3 years.
Wow.
And, but nah, it was cool. It was cool. And it was like, I never really told people I was a rapper all the time. Like even now, like I hoop with cats and they don't know I rap until like a kid will see me and run and want to take a picture or whatever. So it's like, if you knew, like we must have really been having some conversations. But actually, the day that I quit Capriati's, I think is probably the most important of the whole journey. Was I was taking out the trash at Capriati's, and there was this girl, and she was like, "Futuristic, what? You volunteering here or something?" She's like freaking out. And I'm like, nah.
Damn.
I'm like, this is my job. And she's like, what? You gotta quit. You about to be famous. And I was like, thank you, And I walked back inside, and I can't recall if it was that same day or if it was like within a 2-3 day span, but dude was like just pissing me off, and he said something, and I was like, fam,
That's
I'm
all it
out.
took.
Like,
I'm about to be famous.
yeah, I'm about to be famous, bro. So yeah,
Man.
Wow.
Wherever she is out there, I hope she sees
I
this.
ran
and
into
I hope
her.
No way.
I ran
no
into
way.
her years later at a concert, and I took a picture with her. I posted it up on my Instagram. And I was like, yo, you don't realize, like, because she was like, yo, remember I saw you with da-da-da-da-da, and I was like, yo, I do remember. I've actually been wanting to run into you again. So yeah,
Dream come true for her as a
Dream
fan
come true,
too.
yeah,
That's
mad
sick.
dope.
That's so sick. Wow.
so yeah, Capriati's days.
Incredible, man.
Hell of a cheesesteak.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I
They
live in
still got
Old
the one
Town.
in North
I go
Scottsdale,
to the
too.
one in Old
That's
Town.
all I would make. I'm the worst employee. I'm the worst employee.
That's why you got to
ever.
be a boss, right?
Yeah, any job I had, it was like, yo, don't ask me to do nothing because I'm not doing it. Like, the only sandwiches I would make was cheesesteaks. They're like, yo, make this. Or like the line got busy and they'd be like, yo, Zach, we need you. I'm like, you don't need me nowhere. I'm right here on these cheesesteaks. And when one come up, let me know.
Can I get an Italian?
Yeah.
If
Not
you want
me.
a cheesesteak, not for me.
Yeah. It'd be like, I'll mess up somebody's sandwich on purpose because I wanted to eat one. I'll be like, oh, you didn't want hot peppers? Could have swore you did. Psh, bam. Throw another one on. So yeah, no, I was
that's
the worst
amazing.
employee, always.
Think it back to that time too, and I don't know if it's still a part of when you do shows, but you were one of the first people I remember doing crowd basketball dunks.
But yeah, the only one.
You-
Only
yeah,
one that
right?
does a crowd basketball dunk. Yeah.
I'd never seen that.
A lot
I
of
remember
people surf, but nobody does the crowd dunk.
dudes holding it up like a little like play one I got up here, and Futuristics, he's waiting for the to drop and just windmills it, dude. Those were I remember that.
Did I do that very first show? Probably not.
No,
first
not
show.
the first show, but I started. Obviously, I was keeping up with you, and in every video you were pretty much doing it. And it was like your
Yeah.
signature. I was like, I've
Yeah.
never seen cats do that.
That's
Yeah.
better than the Steve Aoki cake, honestly. I
Yeah.
prefer to
Yeah.
get the dunk on is way
You know?
better.
Yeah, no,
Less
it was,
cleanup.
I was on tour with Hobson when I came up. Well, right before I went on tour with Hobson, I came up with the idea, knowing that I was about to go on tour with him, and like Hobson would always stand on the crowd and people held him up by his feet, and I stole that and did that and still do that from time to time. But like if I'm opening for somebody else that does something, like out of respect, I don't do what they do. Right? It's like,
Respectfully.
cool. Hobson ain't the first person to walk on the crowd. You know, Method Man, all these other people have done it. So when I knew I was going on tour with him, I'm like, yo, what can I do that's different that's like me? And so we're just walking down the aisles at Walmart, and I'm like, oh, what if we actually fill a pool with water and put it in the crowd, and like we get in our swim trunks and we do that? And then I was like thinking, I'm like, that's gonna be way too heavy, and then it's gonna make a mess and somebody's gonna fall. And so then we're walking and I see the hoop. I'm like, bro, this is it.
It's perfect.
Genius.
Yeah.
I think there's a show where a guy drives around the country and he like goes out to like places like Mill Avenue, Old Town, and stuff like that. And it's called the Dunk Bus. And he he like invites people on. And he's like, "Hey, do you think you can defend me?" And he just dunks on
just
people.
dunks on.
Yeah.
Stealing your moves, man. You got to get some credit for that.
Big facts. Got to patent it. Patent the crowd dunk.
You know, you mentioned Hobson, and there has to be something that has to be respected about what he did with the Funk Volume days when he had that record label, and there was a huge just succession that he made with that record label. Is that where you kind of learned a lot of the music business aspect to do what you do now?
I wouldn't say that I learned it from them, but I would say that his existence in the space let me know that it was possible. And because I grew up, like I said, I was rapping since I was 5. So like back then, there was no independent artist. It wasn't a thing. It was you signed to a major label, you're huge, you're Bow Wow, you're Romeo, or you don't exist, basically. And so as I'm making music and I start putting it out, the only reason why I started discovering independent artists is because a blog picked me up and a blog posted me. And so when I got posted on this blog, I noticed my YouTube views went up. And so, you know, I'm looking at analytics and it's like, oh, this blog posted you. So I go to this blog and the first artist I see was MGK. And then I saw Hoodie Allen, Mike Stud, and Hobson. Wow. And I was like, yo, these guys kind of do what I do.
Yeah.
Heavy hitters.
Oh,
Absolutely
G
super
Easy.
dope dudes in the time. Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that
so
time.
it was like all these cats, and none of them, Logic, none of them were big yet. That was the thing. None of them were doing more than like 300 people at shows. This is when like Chance the Rapper, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was in that first wave of like independent artists that were getting college blog love.
Yep.
Right. That was like the college or the frat rap scene. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, when I saw Hobson and MGK, those were my 2 favorites, and I was like, yo, I gotta find a way to work with those 2. And then everybody else as well. So like that was really my mission in the early days. Was I learned real quick that like collaborating with people in a similar niche. I'm like, if people like Hobson, they'll like me. If people like MGK, they'll like me. People that like Mike Stud will like me, but they might not like Hobson because he's a little too far right. So I always was like, yo, I'm in this cool middle ground where like the white frat rap dudes like me, the girls like me, but still like the super hardcore independent horrorcore cats can like me too because I'm a little bit over there. So like I purposely kind of teetered these lines of like Hoodie Allen, Mike Stud, G-Eazy, Hobson, Tech 9, MGK. And so yeah, as far as like the business goes, it wasn't necessarily learning the business from them, but it was like knowing that their existence could allow mine.
Wow.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
I feel like it's like your bars that let you kind of skirt those lines. It's like that's like the hip hop thing. It's like there's all these different takes and spins on it, but it's like that's when you're talking about like, oh, I can be in the Mike Stud lane, I can be over here, and you know I can do songs with Tech Nine,
right?
and still kind of maintain and like get those people that are hardcore fans. And it's just like, well, the lyrics are undeniable, the flow is undeniable. You switch it up 3 times a song, the bars are tight. You can't deny it. It's like I feel like that's what keeps you true, and you can skirt all those lines perfectly.
Right. Yeah, and it doesn't feel crazy or weird. And it never did for me. It was never like a stretch to make a song that made sense for like Hoodie Allen to get on, or a song that made sense for Tech to get on. It's like some of my songs are a little over here, some are a little here.
Yeah.
So
getting some gems, boys. I got one I want to ask, and it's a little bit separate from the music, but you know, I'm a reader and I respect, you know, authors. I pride myself as a writer sometimes, but you have a published book, The Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
I just would love to hear about that thought process and how that idea came to you. And
yeah, I think because I did everything independent, and got to the level I got to, so many people had questions for me all the time.
I'm sure.
And a big part of my fan base was other rappers. Like if I had 500 people at a show, I would say 400 of them were musicians. Wow. Maybe between 350 and 400. And the ones that were diehard fans were definitely musicians, you know? So my DMs, of course, are filled with love and your typical butt cheek and boob here and there. but mostly artists wanting advice. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that's kind of what led me to a lot of things that I do now. And that was kind of like the first stepping stone was, okay, basically people asked me a bunch of questions and I liked to respond to everybody that I could. And it was like, yo, some days I'd like pick one day out the week and be like, yo, I'm just going to respond to everybody in my DMs. Then I'd be on that for like 5-6 hours.
Yeah, easily.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to write a book that addresses all the questions I get asked all the time. And so that's why the book is like, it's about being an artist, but there's like mental health stuff in there too, because people kind of got to watch that journey as well and see the growth in me as a human. So I think that with the book, it was like something that's not talked about enough, especially at that time. It's talked about more now, but was the mental, you know, the toll that being an artist takes on your mental. So I wanted to make sure that the book kind of addressed how to be an independent artist, from the technical things to the mindset and the mentality that you have to have as well. So
almost like a play-by-play.
Full blueprint.
If you're getting asked those questions, why not put it in a format where people can just have access to it?
Exactly. It's like all those how to rap for dummies or how to do this for dummies. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's basically what it is. It's like how to be an independent artist. Like if you pick this book up day one, if you decide you're going to rap today, here's the basics of like what it means.
Wow.
You know, to do that. So
what year did that book come out?
2017.
Okay. And at that point, what? You had been going hard since like 2010. So you're like 7. Yeah. Wow. So you were able to write. Crazy. You'd have some material.
From experience.
Yeah. For sure.
That's why I guess to say he told you, what did you say? You gave your favorite rapper tips on how to make it?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta give him one of these.
Yeah. For sure, man.
For sure. I definitely gotta hit Indie Amplify. I see the shirt, see the logo. Man, I know it's got to be, you know, 6, again, we say 6 businesses, you know what I'm saying? We talk about it, but that seems like your pride and joy, your baby. I would just love to hear part of that story, the evolution of that and how it came to be.
Yeah, Indie Amplify, I would say, is the evolution of the Declaration of Independence. Okay. It was like that book kind of, the floodgates were already open. Like everybody was already hitting me. Like I didn't have a booking agent and I was booking tours and I was doing all this stuff, you know, in the beginning. And so people are like, you know, upcoming artists, bro, how are you doing this? How do you have a song with NF? How do you have a song with Tech? How do you do all the, and that's just like, it's a lot of game I can't teach. There's some that I can. So at the end of the day, it was just like, same thing. A bunch of people always hit me up for stuff. Yo, can you connect me with this guy? Yo, can you do this? Yo, how'd you get your song on this playlist? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? And so it was
how'd you get on Sway?
How'd you get 30 million views on your YouTube video?
Yeah. So it literally was like, okay, let me just, so I started kind of like doing services and being like, yo, I'll link you with this person, but if y'all do a song, I need a cut. Yo, I'll link you with this person, but if y'all do this, if he does a YouTube reaction and you got to pay him, like, I need a cut. So I kind of was doing that, like playing middleman, but then it was like, once again, I'm texting you, then I'm texting him, then I'm texting you, then I'm texting him, I'm doing all this in between.
You automated it.
I automated it. That's it. It was really just a site where I put all my homies on it, and it was like, yo, you're going to get booked for more features because now people will know how to do it. And like, you're going to get booked for more of this because people are going to know how to do it. And so it was really just letting the internet play middleman and building a one-stop shop.
Man, genius. I mean, it's like the difference between, I would assume, just like calling up a guy and being like, hey, you got a cabin in this town I've never been to, can I rent it?
There's Airbnb.
Text me a couple pics, and it's just like, that's kind of shady.
Yeah, here's a link.
Yeah, here's Verbo, here's Airbnb. That's what we did. I mean, it's genius. We've noticed that too. I mean, it's just, there's a surprising lack of infrastructure sometimes for it, and it's just like, man, why is there not, Hans is booking appointments 2 weeks out, his barber, on an app and stuff. And it's like, why is that not happening for artists? Why is it not there?
Exactly. Yeah, no. So that's really what it was, just making life simpler. And all that it is like, I fell in love with my time. Like, I fell in love with having time. So it was just like, at the end of the day, how can I free up more time? Automate your systems,
Man. And profit from it. And you're profiting from it.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, now you can go book
chores.
Yeah, you can go get a feature from my homie, and I'm getting that same 20% I was gonna get if I called him 3 times, called you 4 times, and sent 7 emails.
Yeah.
Now it's just like
the convenience.
Yeah, I don't even know who does features. Like, people do features with other people, and like, I never hear about it or see it.
Yeah.
Just use the platform.
Just use the platform. Yeah.
I mean, the value is so clear. It's like you log onto the website, the infrastructure's right there.
Right.
That's the value prop. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Man.
So I have two things that I want to talk about Indie Amplify. So the first thing being, I feel like you did probably the smartest move that any other business maker can make, is you found a way to monetize, but also give a business plan to music reactors. Music reactors, to me, I feel like is like the new A&Rs of YouTube, or the new A&Rs of like the internet. To me, I feel like they have been huge proponents of making songs really hot, especially just the more videos, that the more attention they give to a song. A couple of artists that I work with are really big in the country rap scene, and they have really close ties with a lot of different, music reactors. And some of them that I personally know or have personally worked with actually are on your Indie Amplify page.
Oh, fun.
And how did you think of like to utilize that, or like what kind of gave you the idea of to say, you know what, let me give a space for the music reactors to be able to have a space on Indie Amplify?
I mean, same thing. I just noticed people reacted to my music, and anytime that would happen, I would just reach out. Anytime somebody shows me love, especially if they're, if they have a substantial following, it's like, cool, you know who I am. Now I know who you are. Let me get your number. You never know when I might need it, and then on the opposite end, it's like, once again, I've always connected people. I've always shown love. So it's like, at the end of the day, anybody knows they could text me, they could hit me. And like, as long as you have value, then I can put you in good positions. So it was the same thing with the YouTubers, the YouTube reactors. It was like, yo, how come you're not reacting, and how come you're not getting paid to do reactions, And it's like, cool, hop on my site, and then you can make it easy and just do reactions. And when we first started the site, it was actually like, some of them had to start second channels.
Oh, wow.
Because they had too many reactions, and they couldn't put them all on their main channel because they were like, my homie Crypt, I think he got booked for like 34 reactions maybe.
I worked on a song with him. Yeah, he's super dope.
Yeah, so like he had to start a second channel on some like, yo, I can't put all these on my main channel because now I'm not reacting to the popular stuff that's getting me all the views. My channels, because let's be real, at the end of the day, not all the artists that book these reactions are super, super talented.
Yep. Correct.
And aren't going to garner you more views. So that is one thing about the paid things, is like, sometimes it's not necessarily the best of quality. But what's cool about the site too is you have the ability to approve or deny anything that comes in. But when we first launched, everybody was approving everything because they're like, oh, I can get money.
Yeah, exactly.
So like Cats was accepting 34 orders, and then like I got customers calling me, a month in, like, yo, what's up with my order? I ordered, so it was like, it was this fine balance of like, okay, sometimes you need to deny some shit.
Yeah, that's cool. You get to gatekeep it there, but people still can pay for an at bat. You know what I mean? They get to pay for the at bat, and if they prove themselves, obviously something's going to grow from that. People are going to listen to it, even if maybe that song doesn't blow up. They're building the relationship with you or whoever they book. Like, it's just you're paying for the at bat, and that's legitimate.
And I think that's why like the second half of Indie Amplify being the education space, where like I do the educational videos, was so important, because it was like, you can't sell people tools and not teach them how to use them. you know, and not teach them the value of each thing. You know, and there's times where like there's certain services on the site where it's like, you know, people come to me and ask me like, yo, what about this and this? And I'm like, yo, if I was you, I wouldn't do either of those. I would do this, you know?
Yes.
So I just try to keep it real.
It reminds me of so funny enough, ASU, you see all kinds of things on that campus. One time on the inside of a bathroom stall in one of the engineering buildings, I saw innovation is praised, execution is worshipped. And it stuck with me. From the bathroom stall, I feel like you're right on there. Stall. Hey, listen, you could go innovate. Yeah, all this stuff sounds good, but at the end of the day, this is how you actually pound the pavement and get it done. This is what will get you the results.
Yeah, like, execution is everything. For sure. Yeah. For sure.
So my next follow-up to Indie Amplify is you made a post recently stating that you were basically renewing Indie Amplify. Like it was pretty much going to be a whole different platform. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you can talk about what the new rollout's going to be?
What your lawyer will allow you to.
Yeah, what's the lawyer going to allow?
Nah, basically, I want to get off the internet and get in real life. I just say that. Like, I want to give people more real life experiences, and I think that there's something missing in the music industry in which people got together and made music from scratch, and people traveled and linked up and did all these things, and people used to get together and 1,000 people would be in an event to watch ciphers and do all these things, and that doesn't exist anymore, and it's not happening. And yeah, so I want to bring more real life experiences and community more so.
Nice.
So yeah.
Man, I
got
love
a taste,
that.
Drew. Got a taste.
Absolutely.
Indie
Honestly,
bands.
just even just the pitch, that little 30-second pitch, that sold me. I honestly think that's where music collaboration in terms of being on the internet needs to go back to, is being in real life.
Yeah.
Going back to the reaction videos we were talking about, looking back in the early YouTube days, I feel like you had some of the first reaction videos ever with the nerd raps.
Yeah,
you were early in the game on that,
and I had no idea.
I know,
and I had no idea what a YouTube reaction was. Probably until, honestly, probably until 2018. So I was like 3 years late. Like I didn't know about YouTube reactors.
Wow. Because I never forget that one kid in the video goes, I always knew I was going to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
The Compton one? The Compton one?
Yeah, I was like
stoked. It's funny as hell.
Yeah, as far as YouTube reaction videos, I didn't even know those were a thing. And when I saw them, I'm like, yo, this is the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I'm like, so they're watching a video and they're reacting to it.
It's
why
concept is
why are
crazy.
people watching videos?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and the nerd rap ones were almost like, those were borderline like prank kind of reaction.
Yeah, they were dope.
Those were
Oh,
like, that was a
you're
good
talking about the in-person reactions.
Yes,
prank videos.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
correct.
The prank ones.
You were
Those were like
early on
pranks,
that.
basically.
I was the first prank.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Period.
yes,
Okay.
you guys
That's
were,
what I meant.
you
That's
were
what I was
the,
getting at.
Period. Don't
Yeah.
care what nobody says.
Let's go. Hey, Drew, drop some
I
shit for
couldn't
that.
think of one.
In
before.
music,
Call that shit out, dog. Call that
I
shit out.
was the first rap prank.
Yep.
Independently to do a prank.
Yes, you
And Big Dawes TV was the catalyst to that. And the way that happened was, people don't realize I did 3 pranks before that one. They weren't rapping pranks. I just did pranks with Big Dawes TV. I did awkwardly staring at strangers, where we just went up to people and like stared at them like this, and just sat next to somebody I didn't know and stared at them. Weirdest shit ever. But when he dropped that, first of all, the way that I even saw Big Dawes was he was doing a prank called eating junk food at the gym that went viral on Facebook. And when I saw him doing the sit-ups, I recognized somebody in the background because they were going to he was at the gym that I went to. And I was like, I go to this gym. This dude lives here. So once again, I see somebody popping. They live in Arizona. Let me hit him up. I hit him up. He's like, bro, I guess I'll Smoke's one of my favorite songs. This is 2014.
No way.
And so hit him up. We link. We do a couple pranks. And then he did a Nerd Raps in Compton before me, but he can't rap. So no offense, Dawes.
He did rap good for a nerd. He sold the nerd thing really well.
He sold the nerd thing
the one
very
you did
well.
Together
And he was freestyling too. So like,
No, you can tell.
and that one did well for him. And I'm like, yo, if I rap my shit, it's out of here. So we knew that was going to work. We knew that was going to be crazy. And the reason why I knew it was going to be crazy was when I did the awkwardly staring at strangers prank, he just shouted out my new song and it cracked. It got like 15,000 views on YouTube that day, and then it was like 30,000 or whatever it was. It just did way more numbers than anything else I was doing. So I'm like, oh, I didn't even rap in this, and his fans are going to watch it based off me looking weird on
Just being
camera.
associated,
So I was like, that sparked everything. So then I did the nerd rap, and what's kind of crazy, if we're talking about like chronologically, I did the nerd rap and it popped off, and my whole thing was, how can I do more of these? Not the nerd rap, but how can I link with as many big influencers as possible?
Yes.
And so I had the idea for As Seen on the Internet, which came out 2016 after Coast to Coast.
Yep.
But I had that idea before I did Coast to Coast with Devon.
Oh, wow.
And I pitched that idea to every major label. I took meetings with every label. Every label wanted to sign me. I was outselling tons of major label artists. So I'm taking all these meetings with major labels and
Can you name one?
all of them: Universal, Atlantic, Columbia,
Big Four.
Sony.
The Big Four, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Let's
I
go.
think was Columbia under Sony? Are they under Sony? I met with everybody.
I think Columbia's under Sony. Yeah.
Yeah, so I met with everybody. Capital, not Columbia.
Wow.
And so I pitched the idea, and I think Atlantic was the funniest one. Of like Republic got it, like Republic kind of got it, but still was like they were working on like The Weeknd and all them of like doing all that. They're already popping, but like
Different lane.
yeah. So I pitched the idea, and this is before the word influencers was even a thing. The word influencer didn't really exist. It was like the Viners or the YouTubers.
Totally.
And Atlantic was like, nah, that'll never work. We want to put Wale on a song, and we want to put Waka Flocka on a song. And I was like, if y'all don't get this, I'm out. Like this doesn't even make, if y'all can't understand this simple thing, then it doesn't make sense. And when I moved to LA, I was at Logan Paul's crib every day. And like
during the Vine days, are you talking about?
During the Vine days, not every day. I was over there a lot, and they all lived in one building. They all lived on Vine Street in LA, and it was like King Batch was here, Rudy Mancuso, Hannah Stocking, Lele Pons. We talking about people with like 60 million followers.
Wow. Okay. So
that's the one across the street had the big ass billboard, right?
Probably
an influencer collective, basically.
Influencer collective.
Yeah,
all of them lived in the same apartment complex. This is before people started breaking off and like buying houses and like turning them into cool shit.
Compounds,
all of them lived in an apartment, and they all would just walk down and shoot each other's content for each other and then upload it and whatever.
Yeah.
So like, like I didn't even really know, even like Jake Paul, bro. The first time I met Jake Paul, we were playing basketball and we got into it during a basketball game, and cats are like, yo, what are you doing? I'm
You
like,
throw a sharp elbow?
I'm like,
what was the move?
Oh, he was very aggressive.
Okay.
Very aggressive, and he was like kind of punking people. And I'm like, I can hoop. Jake Paul cannot hoop.
You heard it here.
You heard it here first. And so we like kind of got into it a little bit, and I didn't really know who he was. The cat who was from here, George Janko, really put me on to the whole YouTuber scene. And so he put me on. He was living with Logan Paul. And we would just go over there and cook and do stuff, and I did a bunch of pranks and linked with all these people, and that was my strategy, was let's link with as many popular people as we can. Yeah.
Probably 100 million plus views later.
Yeah.
Easy, dude. I mean, I was just looking through them recently, even it's like literally 30 million. I would say your average is like 9 or 10 million on these things, dude. It's crazy. And that's what's crazy. It's not even just the pranks though, and it's not even just that. Like your music videos, they're all the same numbers, just across the board. Like you have a consistent fan base of people tuning in.
Yeah. Well, and I could say too, like that was the main thing, that like I saw other people steal what I was doing, and they'd get views, but they wouldn't get sales, and people wouldn't become fans, and it was like they weren't doing it right. Mm-hmm. They weren't like. When I dropped the prank, I dropped the music video at the exact same time. So when you watched the prank, you saw the first verse to the song, but to see the whole song, you had to go over here. And then that music video looked just like the prank. So when you're watching it, you feel like you're just watching a better version of the prank. Wow. In comparison, where other people were like shooting a prank and then it wasn't even to a song. It's like, cool, you got 100 million views, but you didn't drop a song. You have nothing to connect it to. L. And it's not on your and it's not on your channel.
100 million view L, dude. That hurts.
It's tough. And it happens still to this day. Like people have their moment, and then it's like, bro, if you don't attach it to something that you can monetize, you're fucked.
Wasting your time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what a masterclass we're getting. You're seeing 100 million views, and you're just saying if you're not getting ROI, and what are you talking about?
No.
It's perfect. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's a man that knows about customer conversion rate, you know?
Yeah. I was actually going to say this. I was going to give you kudos, Futuristic, is from starting around the blog era where DatPiff was very popular, SoundCloud was very popular, and there's something I'll talk about later down the line, but somebody had talked about in a podcast where they said 2014 to 2018 was like the perfect independency when it comes to selling music.
Facts.
It was the fact that you've been able to go in and out of the different changes and adaptations of different social media and different platforms that become popular. It seems like you have a really keen understanding of the why different things work and how to maximize, and not only that, monetize it.
Yeah.
I guess my question is to you, like is that have always been something you've had in the beginning, or was that like something that you just finally developed, like once you kind of got one thing, you're like, okay, once I got this thing, this started to develop where I can start to kind of adapt to different things?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I think my biggest strength is the ability to monetize. And it's been like that. Once again, when I was 5 years old, I was rapping, and like, no exaggeration. So my parents were split. I would go to my dad's house. He had the studio. I would record a whole album in a weekend, and then I would take it back to school and I would sell it at school. And then 2 weeks later, I'd go back to my dad's house and I'd do the same thing. And like, then I would mow lawns and I would do all these different things. And it was like, if anybody needed something, I was always like, okay, how can I do that? Or be like, oh, the candy lady's selling these Tutti Fruities for 5 cents a Tutti Frutti. Okay, I'm buying all of them and taking them to school and selling them for a quarter. And then like, I would walk the lunch line and be like, okay, these people are in the free lunch line, so they don't got no money. These people brought their own lunch. They're buying the a la carte stuff. I'm walking that line and I'm selling my CD.
That's sick, dude.
So it was like, I always had the ability to like see how to kind of fit in and how to get the most bang for my buck and know how to sell. So yeah, no, I think that monetization has always been like something I'm good at. And then too, it's always like, okay, how can I guess for lack of a better word, how can I undercut whatever people are liking? Like, cool, if this thing exists, but everybody can't afford it, how can I make this thing? And so even like when I'd go on tour with other artists, it'd be like, cool, if I know that his shirt is 40, I'm selling mine for 30 and I'm giving a free CD. Damn. Like, or like, and I'm only signing my merch. I'm not signing his. Like, so like people bring me stuff. It's like, nah, I'm only signing mine. Like, so it's just always been that of like, how can we make bread from the situation? And sometimes that takes patience to know like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do this. Or even the fact that like I knew most of my fans were rappers. And so like in the early days, I lived off of doing features and throwing these events called Prove It, which was where I threw a local showcase once a month, and that's what paid my bills. I would throw a showcase, I would rent out Red Owl, and 9 artists would perform. They all had to sell 30 tickets, and they would make basically a third of the bread. I would make the rest of it. And so every month I'd make like $2,000 to $5,000 off of that one show. Wow. And that's what would pay my bills, along with doing features and everything else. And I wasn't even popping. Like, this is like 2010.
Oh, wow, early.
Yeah, it was like, 2010 to 2013, where like I lived off of music way before anybody else would have, because of being able to be like, okay, this is how I can monetize all of my strengths.
10 steps ahead, man.
Dude, that's crazy. I mean, to be as talented as you are musically is like that's a gift, right? Like if someone was just born with like as in all things being equal, and then they were given that would be a blessing. But it's like you almost have like a savant level understanding of business, dude. I mean, it's crazy. Like it's one thing to be like, yo, I get supply and demand and basic addition and subtraction, like anyone could do, like your candy thing. But that was also like 5-6 years old, and it's like what you elevated it to, seemingly without any sort of like intervention of higher learning or even like a strong mentor to just learn that yourself naturally. I mean, that's like crazy, dude, to be good at both of those things.
I always tell people it's like I never felt like, there was times where I felt like I was a really good rapper for sure, but like
you are,
I think that I knew what my strength was, because when I talk to other rappers, I'm like, what? Like, what's the plan though? Yeah. So yeah, no, I think that's always been a big strength for me regardless. Yeah. Wow. And I think the difference is too, I really enjoy it. Yeah. I think I enjoy that more than making the music. Yeah. Like anytime I made a song, the first thought, like I said, when I was 5, it's like, cool, where can we sell it?
You're a marketer. Yeah. I mean, kind of, by nature.
Yeah. Wow.
Little off topic. I hope this isn't too kind of wild, but I just got a comment, man. The way you proposed to wifey.
Oh yeah.
Did you come up with that idea, or did the homies help out?
No, somebody else did that before me. I saw it, and it wasn't the same. It was. I don't think he acted like he sprained his ankle or something, but he did something. And so, basically, I went on a cruise the year before that, and I did sprain my ankle.
Oh shit!
And she ran to me so fast, so I knew that her reaction would be that. So I was like, this will be perfect and I had like 3 or 4 like very elaborate ideas. Like one of them was like, we were going to get, a couple's massage by the beach. And then like, I was going to bring in a mariachi band and they were going to start singing. And
let's go.
By the time, she got up from her massage, it was like, I was going to be on one knee in my towel, living a vida loca. But I knew that like basketball's my thing. Yep. I knew she was watching, and I knew like if I went down that she would be there. And I actually have the video. So she was filming me play basketball, trying to catch a highlight. And so I still have the video in my phone of the proposal from her dropping her phone. She doesn't curse. And when I sprained my ankle, all you hear is, fuck, throws it down. And within 2 seconds, you hear, baby, are you okay? And it's like she sprinted around the whole thing and got there. So no, it was perfect.
And Jacob captured it on video, right?
Travis did.
Oh, okay.
Travis Colbert. Yeah, he's actually Chris Brown's videographer now. But yeah, he is a I don't want to say a descendant of Jake, but an understudy of Jake for sure. Yeah.
I just had to mention him. I just thought that was a cool thing. I was like, man, creative, and I'm a baller myself. So
for sure.
I mean, the fact that she came running not once but twice, it's like you weren't even intentionally testing her. Like you just knew with the reaction. It wasn't like, oh, if she comes.
No, and that's the main thing people ask is they're like, yo, how did you know that like she would mob over there? I'm like,
that's my girl.
Come
that's
on,
wifey. What are you talking about? Dude? Why wouldn't she? Is a better
that's my lady. That's my lady.